why it is needed today to tell our youth and our countrymen the history of Kashmir, particularly of the period 47 to 49. Because our current younger generation is not aware that what Kashmir was from the times of Kashyap Muni. What changes took place in Kashmir and what is happening in Kashmir today. And I'll start by saying this. I feel very uncomfortable when this word is used, Kashmir problem, Kashmir issue, and we Indians use it. The problem is not Kashmir. The issue is not Kashmir. The problem is Pakistan. The problem is separatists in Kashmir. So the issue is Pakistan and separatists in Kashmir and all those lovers who are there in Kashmir. They are the problems. The land of Kashmir, the people of Kashmir, they are not a problem for us. Don't forget that there was a person named Munawwar Sherwani, a 19-year-old youth, 19 साल का लड़का था. For 2 days, he held the Pakistani forces alone from marching towards Srinagar. And what he did? He had a motorcycle. From which side ever these Pakistani army and raiders were coming, he will go on his motorcycle there. And he will say, don't take this route. Indian forces have come. Go the other way. And for 2 days he fooled them, which were very crucial for us. And when the Pakistanis came to know that this fellow is fooling us, so Munawwar Sherwani was cut to pieces by these raiders. This narrative, ये क्या है कश्मीर के लोगों की उस समय की, पाकिस्तानियों से और इनसे लड़ने की, इस व्याख्या को गायब कर दिया गया कश्मीर से. ब्रिगेडियर उस्मानी इंडियन फोर्सेस की तरफ से जो लड़ा कश्मीरियों पाकिस्तानी रेडर्स से, उसके नैरेटिव को गायब कर दिया गया. ब्रिगेडियर राजेंद्र सिंह के नैरेटिव को गायब कर दिया गया. लोगों को यह नहीं बताया गया कि गिलगिट कैसे गया पाकिस्तान के अंदर, कि मेजर ब्राउन, that English fellow who killed the commander of the Maharaja's forces, massacred Hindus over there and give it to Pakistan. And this Major Brown remained in service of Pakistan army till 1958. He was given their highest order. How the British collaborated with Pakistanis during this period, 47-49. But before I go further, I'd like to make one more point clear about Kashmir. Some people, without looking at documents, without knowing history, and following the colonial discourse or the discourse of Marxist historians, that India was never there before 47. India was created in 47 by the British. Now, I don't want to go into time saying from the ancient times, from the time of Alexander, who talked of Indica or Megasthenes and all. I don't want to talk of the Ashokan Empire from Afghanistan down south. Why did the British name their companies East India Company, French East India Company, Dutch East India Company? And these people, nonsense they talk. If German unification is there, the idea of Germany was there. Germany has been unified. Italian unification, the idea of Italy was there. Italy has been unified. And when it comes to India, these rascal colonialist historians said that there is no country like India. And followed by Karl Marx writing of 1953, where he says, India has no history. Its history is only of invaders. And the question is, who will rule? A Turk will rule, or an English will rule, or a Russian will rule. And then he uses just as appetites about India. I'm not going into those details. But I'd like to mention here one more thing, that and let me come to the modern period itself when people talk of 47. When I raise these questions, I have answers. What word did the Britishers use for India? British Indian Empire. Most glittering diamond in the crown of the British Emperor. British Indian Empire. And what did this British Indian Empire mean? The British provinces and the British Indian states. It is a combination of both which was called India. Otherwise, if India would not have been there, then Hyderabad would have been another country, Junagadh would have been another country, Travancore would have been another country, Bhopal would have been another country. They would have been mentioned as nation states. But they are all under paramountcy. They are all a part of the British Indian Empire. And the representative of the British is only one person for both, Viceroy and Governor General. Governor General for the Indian states and Viceroy for the Indian states and Governor General for the provinces. So this whole stupidity. On the contrary, I will say that it is in 47 that British undo the unity of India when they say that paramountcy has left and the states are independent. This is what I'm trying to do. And one more thing, please understand. So this whole thing of Kashmir not being a part of India and controversy, and I'll come to that. But one more thing I wanted to tell you. Please be very clear among yourselves that we have been fooled since last 75 years that India got independence on 15th August 1947. Two dominions were created. Very recently, at least minutes have been declassified of the July 1947 meeting. And you know what those minutes say? Now Nehru and Congress leaders are saying that we will be happy with dominion status and independence of India can wait for 2-3 years. So we can now create a Hindu dominion and a Muslim dominion. Do you know that the oath taken by Mountbatten as Governor General of India was taken in the name of King? To appoint Gopalachari as the second Governor General of India, Nehru took permission of George VI on behalf of his cabinet to appoint him Governor General. Letters are there. And you will be surprised that the King of England, George VI, abdicated the throne of India on 26 June 1948. Google it, you will find it in the London Gazette. So let's be very clear about it. It was a dominion, and in all documentation they have called it Dominion of India, Dominion of Pakistan. And now let me come to Kashmir. During the freedom struggle, Nehru had developed a total, what you may call, hostility towards the Indian states. And particularly after his arrest in Nabha, I think it's 1923 or something, or 1920 or 1923, where he was arrested by the Nabha king and put in the Nabha jail. And then Motilal Nehru wrote a letter of apology to the Viceroy. Okay, my son will never do these things again and he will never go like this and he should be released from the jail. Because these people shout against Savarkar that Savarkar did the apology to come out from the jail. But they forget that what apology Motilal Nehru did to the British to get Nehru out of this from the Nabha jail. And not only this, In 1946, when the cabinet mission plan was here in India, negotiating India's partition and all these things, Nehru went to Kashmir to support Sheikh Abdullah, who had been arrested by the Raja over there, Hari Singh. And again, Nehru was arrested in Kashmir. And again, these Congress leaders begged to the Viceroy to get Nehru released from the jail. It is not Kapil Kumar speaking. See the records and you will find it out. Now what happens in 46? When the Britishers have left, very few people know, because no history books, doesn't suit them, so our great historians did write these facts in history. How many of us know that this Nawab of Bhopal came out with a proposal to let the power be transferred to another dominion, and that dominion will be a union of all the princely states. The British can treat them as a third dominion and let the power be given to that also, which was told by Sardar Patel. Now, very crucial thing I found, certain things when I was making this Prime Minister's Museum and writing on Nehru for that museum, 5 Prime Ministers I wrote. In June 1946, Mountbatten pays a one-day visit to Kashmir, only to influence Raja Hari Singh. You don't join any of the unions. तुम किसी भी इंडिया या पाकिस्तान डोमिनियन को ज्वाइन मत करो. You make an independent state like Switzerland. And the Maharaja is carried away by that. And why should Mountbatten talk of our interests? We are fools that we made our first Governor General person who was the last representative of the British, who had exploited, looted, massacred, killed Indians for the last 170 years. Our Gandhiwad did that. And when Gandhi was asked, independence is coming, will there be a change of leadership? The great leader who talked of Swadeshi and all, you know what he said in a prayer meeting? A Cambridge educated hero boy is required to deal with the British, meaning thereby Nehru. Now, the Maharaja got carried with away, and they kept on saying, I will not join any union, I will not join any union. And in the meantime, the Pakistani raiders attacked. An army attacked. And there is some new facts which have come out to light on this regard. Kashmir was always on the agenda of Muslim League. Even before 47, they had sent their people to propagate from Lahore, these, what you call madrasas, to move into Kashmir and talk of this joining Muslim League and all, and not to join the National Conference of Sheikh Abdullah and all that. But which is ignored is that after the creation of Pakistan, the boundaries of British India, which used to be with Afghanistan, now became the boundaries of Pakistan with Afghanistan. And remember, Badshah Ghaffar Khan never wanted to join Pakistan. He wanted to join India, or he said, otherwise you make us an independent state. He had even gone to the length of saying, okay, if an East Pakistan be created, why can't a West India be created? And there emerged a demand for Pathanistan over there. There emerged a demand for Pathunistan over there. And interestingly, the then Afghanistan government supported this demand of Pathanistan. Now, which totally unbalanced Jinnah and Liaquat Ali. They thought if this side the Afghan forces come with the Pathans and all, and they revolt and attack us, and that side Patel is there, he is taking action in Hyderabad, he is taking action in Junagadh. If the Indian army moves from that side, the very existence of Pakistan will be gone. So what they did, on I think the date is 9 September or 11 September. I'm slightly confusing. 47. There was a massive riot in Peshawar and killings. And this riot was not between Hindus and Muslims. This riot was between Pathans who supported Pathanistan demand and the Muslim League supporters of Pakistan. And many were killed in that riot. So how to divert it? And the best thing for diversion was, this is what Liaquat Ali did, told these Pathans, why are you fighting with us Muslims? The Raja in Kashmir is a Hindu who's doing atrocities on Muslims, and the Raja in Patiala is a Sardar who's responsible for all the atrocities on Muslims in Punjab. Let us go and take over Kashmir, and after winning Srinagar, we will march to Patiala. We only talk of their talking of Kashmir. We never talk that what was this plan of Pakistan. So what they did, brought these Kabilis by trains, by lorries, etc., and assembled them in Rawalpindi. Provided them arms. One more thing should be noted here. You see, this coming of Pathans from Afghanistan to India during the months of September, October was something not new. Because when snowfall takes place in Afghanistan, these people always used to come to India in search of jobs. आपको मालूम है काबली वाला उनकी रविंद्रनाथ टैगोर की भी कहानी है. ये सारे पठान जाके अपना काम करते थे, व्यापार करते थे, ट्रेड करते थे, अर्न करके और फिर वापस चले जाते थे अफगानिस्तान. And when they used to cross the border into India, in British India at that time, if they had any gun or anything with me, they were kept at the border posts. And when they will go back, those guns will be given to them. What the Pakistanis did, they did not ask them to surrender their guns. Rather, provided them with more guns. And very recently, Professor Raghavendra Thavar, he was professor in Kurukshetra History Department, he has discovered very interesting facts. Even the names of those tailors who were asked in Lahore to make the civilian dresses of Pathans for the Pakistani army officers. And on papers, the Pakistani army showed these people are on leave. And they let this result. And what was told to these Pathans? Luto, Maro. They were given a free hand. Whosoever, and not back on Muslims or Hindus or Sikhs. Pakistan had no love for Kashmiri people, like it doesn't have any love for Kashmiri people now. So these raiders, they started butchering, raping, looting the women, burning their temples, burning churches, even attacking mosques in that period. Total brutes. And led by Brigadier Akram Khan of the Pakistani army. I was so shocked that last year on 21st October, there was a seminar in Srinagar for this event of, because the raiders started coming on 21st of October to India in 47. That one of our great bureaucrats here organized an exhibition there and made a souvenir over there. And in that, they put up a 6 feet high colored photograph of Brigadier Akram and a photograph of Liaquat Ali. Google बाबा जो historian बन गए हैं, किसी कंपनी को दे दिया. Everyone was asked why we are putting this. Anyway, that's a different story. So when these raiders came and then these attacks started, very few people know that Jinnah camped in Atokabad, waiting that on 26th October, I'll go and I'll hoist the flag of Pakistan in Srinagar. And on this side, negotiations were going on. This great Mountbatten when Sardar Patel said that we should immediately send our forces there. Sardar Patel even said in the cabinet meeting that these Kabilis who are coming in, we should use the air force and bomb these Kabilis in Pakistani army. And Mountbatten said, how could you do that? Kashmir had not acceded to India. It's not a part of India. How can you take that as an attack on India? And it was then that Sardar Patel flew and got the accession document from the Maharaja. It is said that Maharaja, after signing that accession document, had gone to sleep, and he had told his ADC that if the Indian troops come in the morning, you wake me up. But if they don't come, you shoot me in the head. Patel, when he comes with that document and takes that document to Mountbatten and Nehru still, we'll go to UN, we'll go to this. We are a new country. We have one independence by ahimsa. If we attack, we do, what will happen? And on that, Patel has said, it has been recorded by General Manekshaw, who was his ADC at that time. Patel said, Mr. Nehru, do you want to lose Kashmir? And Nehru was silent. And Patel towards Manekshaw, because Patel had made all arrangements at this Safdarjung airport and Palam airports of sending the army by air. Patel moved towards Manekshaw and said, here are your orders. Send the army and send the air force. And what did Mountbatten do? There was no condition put by Hari Singh in the accession document. Mountbatten wrote on it, this is temporary, subject to plebiscite. कि तब तक नहीं होगा जब तक चुनाव नहीं कराए जाते कश्मीर के अंदर, ये टेम्परेरी डॉक्यूमेंट रहेगा. एंड नेहरू साहब एग्रीड टू इट. Our forces went. I'm not going into the details of the fight. We started winning, but one more crucial thing happened at this time. The Azad Hind Fauj, which was there in India, now back, released. Sardar Patel wanted them in the Indian army. And Nehru said a categorical no, that they will not be taken in the Indian army under the influence of Mountbatten and the British commander-in-chief. Don't forget, our commander-in-chief in 47 till almost 48 was a British officer. Auchinleigh, and then after that, I think it's Tracy or someone else. And under this situation, when chief ministers wrote to him, at that time they were called prime ministers of the states, why not use the Azad Hind Fauj trained forces, and why not call those trained army men who had been disbursed after the Second World War by the British to fight out these Pakistani raiders and Pakistani army? You know what is Nehru's answer? The Azad Hind Fauj people can be taken as civil home guards, as policemen, or at the most the railway corps was being made in that, but they can't be taken back in the Indian army. And what Pakistan did? General Kiani, the most trusted man of Netaji, Colonel Habibur Rahman, Pakistan all called them, gave them positions in the Pakistani army, and General Kiani, along with Brigadier Akram and all, and Habibur Rahman, they were fighting from the side of Pakistan against us in Kashmir. But we were not prepared to take the trade, and these armed people had a direct experience of war in 45, in Burma and in Fal and all these places, but they didn't do that. And then comes a very interesting stage. If on the one hand, Nehru, you are saying that it is the Kabilis who have attacked. Now, Kabilis are not a nation. You go to the UN complaining against a nation that this country has attacked us. But on Mountbatten's suggestion, you go to the UN. You take the Kashmir issue, make it an issue and take it to the UN. And then starts a series of UN commission and this and that and ceasefire and all that and all. And throughout this period, the British wanted Pakistan to take over Kashmir. They never wanted Kashmir with India. They never wanted a strong India. The ample documentation to show that, because from the strategic point of view, Kashmir, they wanted a buffer against China, what was happening in China, and they thought it is very easy for us to control via Pakistan than via controlling by India. And I'm making another statement here. There is a reason for British sympathy for Pakistan. When Mountbatten was posted to India to come as viceroy, he went to meet Churchill. And Churchill told him, well, you are going to India, don't forget my Muslim friends. And Mountbatten said, I will not forget them. All written in Mountbatten's journal. Webber, the other viceroy, when these negotiating tables are going on, injustice is being done to Muslim League. And it is during this period that negotiating on the table, Redcliffe is asked to make the boundaries of India and Pakistan. And this fellow does the job in 6 months' time and runs away. A person who had never visited India, who didn't know India anything, but our Congress leadership agreed that he should draw the line between India and West Pakistan and India and East Pakistan. And he did it. Went away. Otherwise, this Gurda, what is this Guru Nanak Ji's birthplace, Kartar Sahib. How many kilometers from Indian boundary? Why can't these people have asked, even when negotiating table, Kartar Sahib should be in India, not in Pakistan? They didn't do it. And there's a reason why I'm mentioning these side incidents. Because how much Mountbatten had this influence over Nehru at that time? I don't know how many of you know that which is Lady Mountbatten died and her grave was made in the British Channel. Indian Navy ship Nilgiri was sent from Bombay to sail right up to England, British Channel in Europe, between France and England, by Nehruji, to play marigold malas over her grave. Indian Navy ship sent. And the Indian Parliament, which never, there is a protocol of offering, condolences. Lady Mountbatten never came in under that list of protocol of leaders. But Indian Parliament was made to get up and offer condolences to Lady Mountbatten. And now what happens? On the one hand, you have sent it to the UN. And on the other hand, when the pressure is there for ceasefire, first thing, there are two very crucial things here. One thing, the moment Indian forces reached Srinagar on 26th October 1947, Jinnah, knowing that now his game is up, now war will be there. So Jinnah pleaded for ceasefire. Again, Nehru wanted it. Mountbatten wanted it. Sardar Patel said no. Unless we have thrown out, because Jinnah was very happy कि जितने इलाके उन्होंने ले लिए थे कश्मीर के, अगर सीज फायर हो जाती तो पाक ऑक्युपाइड कश्मीर वहां नहीं होता. Pak occupied Kashmir would have been next 5 kilometers to Srinagar. And then the Indian army started throwing them. This whole war of 47 is a drama in the sense that both sides, the commander and chiefs are British. I have the volume right now with me. That military records have been declassified now. Whatever action the Indian army is going to take, the British chief of the Indian army is immediately informing Karachi, his counterpart over there, an Englishman who is leading the British forces. And what he has to do is informing him. In spite of this conspiracy, our Indian forces started throwing them out. And the Indian army, then Thamaiya came in by that, made it clear to Nehru that don't go for ceasefire unless we have thrown out the Pakistanis totally out of Kashmir and restored the position of before 21st October 1947. And the Indian army was overruled by Nehru. This is how Pak occupied Kashmir came into creation. We must know how Pak occupied Kashmir was created. It was not created that the Indian army was not capable of throwing them out at that time. It was not created that because the Indian army didn't fight bravely against them, but it was created through a political decision of an Indian Prime Minister. And for now, years to come and ages to come, this thing is. When this war was going on, I came across a very interesting document. Jayaprakash Narayan, he made a statement. The Kashmir thing is not going to be solved by UN or in UN. It will be solved by the soldiers in the battlefield. How true has been his prediction? That's what Jayaprakash Narayan said. And then we have this. Acha, another thing which is very important to listen here. Nehru is outrightly supporting our Sheikh Abdullah. And he gets Sheikh Abdullah made as the Prime Minister of Kashmir by influencing Hari Singh. And what is Sheikh Abdullah doing? What his son and grandson are doing today when they talk of Pakistan. Ample documentation now. If Sheikh Abdullah comes to Delhi and Jalandhar, he will say, Kashmir is India's. Kashmir is Nehru's. Kashmir can't go away. And on the other hand, there are documents that he was in direct contact with the civilian leaders which the Pakistanis had put up in Kashmir as the government over there of the Pak-occupied Kashmir. And he was also constantly in league with and in touch with the British. Having that India in mind, again, of a Indian state over there. That's what Sheikh Abdullah was doing. And when Sheikh Abdullah was arrested, I think in 1953 or 54, I discovered a letter and I was so surprised at that letter. Nehru writes a letter to Karan Singh because at that time Karan Singh has become the regional, Raja of the state. And that letter says, when you are arresting Sheikh Abdullah, don't use the Indian forces. And how long you will be able to keep him in jail? And it's another irony that when Sheikh Abdullah was released later, Nehru invites him to Teen Murti Bhavan, right now where I am sitting, and holds a 3D meeting with him. So, not only they created a Pak-occupied Kashmir, but they made it an international issue to be discussed by others, to be decided by others. And then this whole story, which came up of Article 370. How many of people know that when Sheikh Abdullah went to B.R. Ambedkar, Baba Sahib, if this should be included in the constitution, Ambedkar threw him out of the house. The stand with Patel took. And in this period, I tell you, a very crucial letter I have found. Not one but two. We had tremendous respect for VP Menon, the Home Secretary at that time with Sardar Patel Sahab, in the integration of the states. And this fellow was a British spy. Operation Polo, the Hyderabad action. This fellow informed the Britishers in advance. He said, this decision has been taken to attack Hyderabad, but when it will be taken, I don't know, because that is not in my purview. And more important than that is the letter. When in 48 December, Nehru and Liaquat Ali are to meet in London for ceasefire and all these arrangements. VP Menon writes a letter to Mountbatten. By that time, Mountbatten is away in England. And not only he writes that letter to Mountbatten, but also writes to the British chief, Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Army, that I have sent a letter to Mountbatten. Please ask Mountbatten, he read that letter before this meeting of Nehru and Liaquat Ali, and tell the British Prime Minister the formula which I am suggesting for Kashmir. And what is the formula he suggests? Give the Dogra Jammu to India, give the Valley to Pakistan, and in Ladakh, you do a plebiscite. वहां जनता से वोट दिलवा लो, जम्मू इंडिया को दे दो और कश्मीर वैली पाकिस्तानियों को दे दो. ये वीपी मेनन कह रहा है, our home secretary. And how I could find it? Because अभी last year जब ये 370 वगैरह खत्म हुई थी तो एक और लोन बड़ा चिल्ला रहा था कि सरदार पटेल had agreed that Kashmir should go to Pakistan. So one started researching, what is this? Because one could never believe Sardar Patel saying that. And these are the two documents which I have discovered in relation to that. तो पूरी कॉन्स्पिरेसी और इस तरीके से ये कॉन्स्पिरेसी की गई, क्या तमाशा. I don't know how many of you are aware of this incident. Then when Sheikh Abdullah was in prison, he is 54 or 55, there was a strike in Srinagar of the sweeping staff. And Bakshi Mohammed, I think, is the chief minister of that Kashmir at that time. He writes to Nehru, please help us, we are facing a big trouble. So Nehru, what he does, from Gurdaspur, he picks up 200 Majbi Valmiki Sikhs and sends them to Srinagar. And they are given pattas in Urdu. Okay, now they are given residentship of Kashmir, which under 370 was not open to anyone else. And those pattas in Urdu. And in Urdu it is written in the end that their future generations will do this job only. मतलब जिन्हें आपने वो कश्मीर की रेजिडेंसी वो परमानेंट रेजिडेंसी दे दी है कश्मीर की, सफाई करने वालों को, मैल उठाने वालों को, उनके लिए आपने पट्टा लिख दिया कि उनकी जो आगे आने वाली पीढ़ियां होंगी वो पीढ़ियां यही काम करेगी. This is my question to those who talk of Hindu-Muslim alliance in politics or who talk of Hindu-Dalit alliance in politics. आज वो 7,000 हो गए हैं. सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जो पिटीशन थी on 35 है, this whole case was in front of Supreme Court. How can you deny the children and the further children of scheduled castes the rights that they can't take any other job than this? Is it human? And to this Nehru agreed. And to this Communist Party agreed, which claims of having done so much for Dalits and all. And will never be brought out to the public knowledge. There are so many documents I have discovered of 46, 47. When they are saying, if whoever has done this veto, who has done that, we will not make it public. Otherwise, there will be public protest against us. The rest of the story you know of Kashmir. How separatism came. How 3 families ruled over Kashmir. I was blocked on Twitter for a week when I raised a question to one of the families. Your grandfather was a school teacher. So please tell me how you have been able to amass this wealth that you have bought villas in London and you have villas in Singapore. And Twitter asked me to withdraw that tweet. I said, why? This is public knowledge. I am asking from his own statement, which he has filled for the election while contesting the election. But my account was suspended forever. So, जनाब हकीकतें बहुत हैं. These histories have been suppressed, distorted, because it doesn't suit the ideology. And why they have been suppressed? We know why colonial historians suppressed it. And now we know why the Marxist historians have suppressed it. Satyakam ji, I will request you, I'll send you in mail to read a paper written by historian Niladri Bhattacharya, who was the advisor to NCRT. And you know, it is like a toolkit how, where, and which way the history has to be distorted. I am amazed and I am shocked. So the real history of Kashmir, what has happened in Kashmir, or what is happening in Kashmir, that even now also, some of the Kashmiri leaders, unless they sing Pakistan and sing for Pakistan, their food doesn't get digested. Now, why one should go into this history? Because I would not have blamed Nehru or anything on this. I was in a debate one day and I said, look, Nehru did the Goa operation. I'll praise Nehru for that. Nehru went for heavy industrialization. I'll praise Nehru for that. Nehru created universities. I'll praise Nehru for that. But where Nehru failed, I would have forgotten that failure if that failure was not a constant problem for me today. And that is why we have to learn from our mistakes. That is what history is. That you learn from mistakes, you understand how your present has evolved, and then by comparing these two, you go for a better future. Thank you.